over 250. Then Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo.
You can't take Crawford's skill away. You know, you have to give him credit for skill. You know, he's an amazing fighter. He's an amazing technician in the ring. And
Benavidez is like 6 foot something. You know what I mean? Then he gonna come in 190, 200 probably. You know what I mean? Like you never know. Like that's a big dude. Like you know what I mean?
And he's skilled, man.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I might as well go to heavyweight if I fight Benavidez.
After overcoming one of boxing's top names, Terence Crawford and his camp have shifted their focus toward a new challenge: David Benavidez. A fighter long considered dangerous and often sidestepped by Canelo, but now squarely in Crawford's sights.
I think it's like 64.
Over 250. Then Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo.
I wouldn't fight Crawford. I'm at 175.
Everyone understood that Crawford's pursuit of Canelo wasn't about money, but about cementing his legacy, proving his greatness, and carving out his place in boxing history. And now, to keep that journey alive, his team has set their sights on the dominant force at 168 pounds, the fighter widely known as the Mexican Monster.
Anyone you'd want to see Bud fight in this era that you think, you know what, that'd be a great fight?
Well, I would say Benavidez, but he's too, you know, that weight class is too high for him. So, you know, where he's at now is great.
If this matchup happens, it would need to take place at super middleweight, which is Benavidez's natural division. But the interesting part is that Crawford has already proven at 168 pounds that he's more than capable, not just hanging on, but performing at a high level.
Out here, Kamaru, Terence Crawford versus the Mexican monster, David Benavidez.
I knew it was coming.
He was the mandatory for Canelo.
Oh my God. Relax.
What's up? The scariest guy in the division.
He's not in the division.
He said he could still make 168 pounds. The reason why he wasn't, because nobody wants.
When Crawford faced Canelo, he moved like lightning, fast, precise, and elusive, making his opponent miss again and again. Bringing that same speed, sharp timing, and ring intelligence against a naturally larger and relentless Benavidez is the kind of showdown that could shake up the entire boxing world.
Crawford and Benavidez.
He said he wanted if Benavidez to make 168 with the thinking
match, and he was like, "Nah, we don't want to do that. We
Yeah,
something else." But
I just think Benavidez, he's like, what, 6'5", 6 something like that? He's a big dude, bro.
Yeah. After Crawford's big victory, Turki Alalshik appeared delighted and wasted no time fueling speculation online, posting on X with a pointed question about whether David Benavidez can still make the 168-pound limit, a clear sign that a potential clash between Crawford and Benavidez could be in the works.
Alalshik posted on social media asking if David Benavidez is still capable of making it down to 168. Now, we're not sure if this little tease that Turkey made was targeted as a hint for a future fight between Crawford and Benavidez, or Canelo versus Benavidez.
Benavidez doesn't seem too eager to face Crawford right now, which feels very similar to how things played out with Canelo. At first, the idea of fighting Bud was brushed aside, but once a $150 million offer was presented, it instantly became the biggest opportunity of his career. That's the influence of Turki Alalshik. When that kind of money is on the table, hesitation quickly disappears. And even the talk of legacy takes a backseat to the kind of payday that makes fighters line up to sign.
I feel like Bud needs a Benavidez. And then that would mean Benavidez would have to go into a different body and bring himself back down to 68 when he's already getting settled in at 175. That's just Turkey trying to pull rank. Turkey trying to show he got a golden arm. You know what I mean?
Things took an interesting turn when, after all the discussion about Turkey's money offers, Crawford himself opened up about Benavidez, showing respect for his abilities, but also hinting at how massive the challenge would be. Even joking that facing Benavidez feels like stepping in against a disguised heavyweight.
You were at 168. When we think about anybody at 168 outside of Canelo, the first name that comes to anybody's mind is David Benavidez. What about the potential for a fight like that?
Oh, like I said, man, that's a big dude. You know what I mean? He ain't even at 168. You know, when you look.
Right, not now. He's at 175, yeah.
He probably can't even make 168.
And truthfully, Crawford isn't exaggerating. Benavidez enters the ring looking like he could swallow up an entire weight class. Yet Crawford remains convinced that his speed, timing, and overall skill set give him the advantage. That confidence is what defines him. He can acknowledge an opponent's size and danger while still explaining why he believes he'll come out on top, approaching every matchup like a chess game. It's that fearless mindset that makes fans respect and admire him.
When you look at these fights, you know, especially coming up, you gotta be realistic. You gotta, you know, say, all right, you know, how big is this dude really is? Because David Benavidez, he can fight his ass off. You know, me personally, I believe in my skills and my ability that I could be.
To Crawford, it doesn't matter whether the opponent is big or small. He sees himself as the one controlling the chessboard. Even when staring up at someone like Benavidez, who looks like a skyscraper compared to him. With typical bravado, he frames it as just choosing which floor he plans to score the knockout on, making the idea of battling a giant seem like business as usual. But just as fans were buzzing over Crawford's confidence and playful take on facing a disguised heavyweight, Robert Garcia stepped in with a grounded perspective. The kind of reminder that feels like someone at a cookout telling you your plate is piled a little too high.
He should have maybe fought Benavidez instead. Maybe that would have been a better fight for him.
Who?
Benavidez.
Oh no, Benavidez would destroy him. Not even close. Just like Benavidez would destroy Crawford.
I won't lie, when Robert Garcia suggested that Benavidez would beat both Canelo and Crawford, it was a jaw-dropping moment that almost felt over the top. But his bluntness made it clear he wasn't interested in sugarcoating anything. In his view, Crawford may be a once-in-a-generation talent, but Benavidez brings a different kind of danger, the type where size and raw power could make even Bud look vulnerable. Still, the way Garcia delivered that reality check had a touch of humor to it, almost making you laugh even while processing the seriousness of his point.
There's no chance. There's no chance. Benavidez is too big, too strong, too fast for these guys. Benavidez would beat these two guys, I would say.
Garcia didn't hesitate for a second, shutting the idea down as firmly as a parent cutting off the Wi-Fi. But here's the thing. While Benavidez is undeniably a monster, history shows that every time people claim an opponent is too big or too strong for Crawford, he finds a way to defy expectations and turn top names into little more than sparring partners. And honestly, that's exactly why fans would line up to pay for this fight. It's the kind of matchup that feels impossible to ignore.
And like I said, Crawford is one of my favorites of all times now because of what he just accomplished, what he just did. But Benavidez is too big for him, too fast, too strong. I wouldn't even want to see it. Canelo, Benavidez.
Robert Garcia's blunt take already had fans buzzing. But things got even wilder when Sugar Shane Mosley jumped in with a bold claim, saying Crawford might actually be better than Mayweather. That kind of statement is guaranteed to spark heated debates. And the way Mosley explained it made it even more striking. While Mayweather was known for his technical brilliance, he argued that Crawford combines reach, grit, and a willingness to fight in any style, making him a unique force in today's boxing landscape.
After the fight, Canelo was like, he's better than Mayweather. So, maybe it was just different because Crawford's arms are long. His arms are really long, so it's kind of hard to hit him. But no, he did everything, man. He's the man.
It's hard to dismiss Mosley's take entirely, because in many ways he has a point, and you can already picture the debates it sparks. TV analysts going back and forth, fans at the barbershop shouting over each other, and no one ready to let the conversation die down. That's the kind of talk that becomes legendary in boxing circles. And then, almost as an afterthought, Mosley stirred things up even more by floating the idea of Canelo stepping away from the sport, maybe shifting into training, or even cashing in on a huge payday with a crossover fight against someone like Jake Paul.
Canelo, do you think he should retire?
Yeah, Canelo is more so into training, probably fighters and helping people. Like he already did what he needed to do. There's nothing really more he can do in the sport.
Only in boxing can the conversation shift from debating the greatest of all time to imagining Canelo stepping into the ring with Jake Paul for streaming numbers. And that's part of the sport's wild charm. We're witnessing history unfold as Crawford shows he's built differently, Mayweather's legacy still hovers overhead, and legends like Mosley drop truth bombs with a smile. And let's be honest, if Canelo ever did take on Jake Paul, the internet would probably crash instantly. The kind of chaos boxing fans secretly crave, even if they won't admit it.
Would you think Bud would retire? I didn't actually ask you that. Do you think Bud could call it a day?
He probably will retire for a year, maybe. If he does, a year or 2 years like that, right? A year. But he's coming back.
Yeah.
He's coming back. He's a fighter. He's coming back. Come on.
Right after Mosley shook things up with his Mayweather comparison, Simon Jordan stepped in with a dose of financial reality. pointing out the huge gap in earnings. Canelo walked away from Vegas with an eye-popping $150 million payday, while Crawford, despite making history, collected around $50 million. Of course, that's still life-changing money, but the contrast highlights the way boxing works. Crawford may have delivered the masterpiece, yet Canelo cashed in bigger for simply framing it. At the end of the day, skill wins fights, but superstar branding builds the mansion.
That Sal Alvarez has been able to sell himself in such a way because of his personality, because of the nature of the relationship with the Mexican contingent, his relationship with the broadcasters, whereas Terence Crawford has travelled a little bit under the radar, always been seen. He doesn't have the biggest of personalities, so he doesn't sell himself in that certain way.
I couldn't help but agree with Simon's frustration when he mocked the scoring and called out Max Kellerman for asking about retirement immediately after Crawford's career-defining victory. It felt absurd. The man had just secured a Hall of Fame moment, and the first question was about when he's walking away, like asking Usain Bolt if he's quitting seconds after smashing a world record. Sometimes you have to pause and live in the moment, and Crawford delivered the kind of win that shakes the entire sport. Forget the paycheck differences or questionable scorecards. This was one of those nights where boxing fans simply needed to sit back and appreciate greatness.
This is the only thing I found controversial about it was the appalling scoring. I don't know how anyone, I mean, the AI scoring was just as bad because it came up with a draw, but the actual, this wasn't a close fight.
Well, the AI scoring, you're right.
It was a draw.
The AI is meant to be the ultimate judge.
Yeah.
114, 114.
No, the other judges scored it 115, 113. There was miles.
Crawford has once again turned the boxing world upside down. And now the buzz is all about what comes next. Whether it's Benavidez, another legacy matchup, or simply enjoying his spot at the top while challengers line up. Either way, this moment feels special because we're watching a fighter actively reshape the sport in real time. The conversations aren't slowing down either. Crawford versus Benavidez, the endless Mayweather comparisons, questions about Canelo's future. Boxing right now has more storylines than a streaming series. And at the heart of it all is the question fans can't stop debating. Can Crawford overcome the Mexican monster, or is Robert Garcia right that size will finally be the factor that tests him?